I was just about to settle into my evening ritual, sinking into the worn-out couch, a nice beer in hand, when my phone buzzed on the coffee table. The screen lit up with an unfamiliar number. I groaned internally. Definitely another scam call. Trying to sell me auto insurance I didn't need or some bogus lottery prize. I almost let it ring out, but something nagged at me. Maybe it was the silence of the house. Maybe it was the way the day had dragged on. Nothing spectacular to break the monotony. So, against my better judgment, I grabbed it and swiped to answer. "Hello?" I muttered, my voice raspy from a long day of barely interacting with anyone. What came through the line hit me like a punch to the gut. It was a teenage boy's voice, loud, piercing, dripping with wrath. Made me sit up straight. "It's me, Liam, your son." "Moms, divorce was your fault and now you need to step up. Pay my child support, my school expenses. Stop acting like you don't owe me anything." My mind went blank, like someone had yanked the plug on my thoughts. My son? What son? I didn't have kids. At least, I didn't think I did. My heart started hammering. A cold sweat prickled across my neck. Was this some kind of hoax? I let out a quick laugh, more confusion than amusement. "Pardon me? Who are you? I don't remember having a baby." Silence. I could hear the kid breathing, heavy, irregular, like he was trying to figure out what to say next. My chuckle must have thrown him off, because when he spoke again, his voice wasn't as steady. Just one word, barely a whisper. "What?" That one word hung in the air, and hit me harder than his yelling ever could. He sounded bewildered, like my reaction had flipped everything he thought he knew upside down. I clutched the phone tighter, my knuckles turning white. Who was this kid? Why did he think I was his dad? My brain scrambled for answers, but nothing clicked. I'd been alone for years now. No wife, no family, just me. In this quiet house. There had to be a mistake. "Look, youngster," I said, keeping my tone calm, even, though my stomach was twisting into knots. "I don't know who you are or what's going on, but I think you've got the wrong guy. I don't have a son named Liam. I don't have a son at all." I waited for him to argue, to shout again, but he didn't. The silence dragged on, and I could almost feel his confusion through the phone. My mind raced back through my past, trying to find a gap, a time where this could have happened. I'd been married once, sure, but that was over a decade ago. Sophia and I never had kids, or, so I thought. Could she have hidden something from me? No, that didn't make sense. She'd wanted a family. I was the one who dragged my feet. That's why we drifted apart. "Liam?" I murmured, trying the name out loud. It sounded strange, like it belonged to someone else's life. "Are you still there?" Another beat of silence, then a trembling breath. "You're lying," he said. But this time, he didn't sound angry. He sounded frantic, like he was holding on to something he wasn't, ready to let go of. "My mom told me about you," he continued. "She said you're James. James Carter. That's you, right?" My blood ran cold, all over again. That was my name. How did he know my name? I stood up from the couch, pacing now, my beer forgotten on the table. "Yeah," I admitted, my voice tight. "That's me, but I still don't know what you're talking about. Who's your mom?" He hesitated. I could hear the gears turning in his head. "Monica," he muttered eventually. "Monica Evans." The name crashed into me like a freight train. Monica. I hadn't thought about her in years, not since everything blew up with Sophia. She'd been my secret, my mistake, the woman I'd kept on the side, while I was still married. But a kid? No. That couldn't be right. We'd been careful, hadn't we? My legs felt weak. I sank back onto the couch, rubbing a hand over my face. "Monica's your mom?" I asked, needing to be sure. "Yeah," Liam snapped, the edge returning to his voice. And she told me you're my dad, so don't try to weasel out of this. I wasn't trying to weasel out of anything. I was just lost. If Liam was Monica's son, and he thought I was his father, how old was he? 14, maybe 15. That would line up. Back when I was still seeing her. But she never told me she was pregnant. Never said a damn word. Or had she? Had she told me, and I just ignored it? I tried to think back, but those years were a blur. Lies, excuses, running from responsibility. Liam, I said, my voice firm, even though I felt like I was breaking apart inside. I'm not saying you're wrong, okay? I didn't know about you. If you're actually my son, this is the first time I'm hearing about it. He didn't respond right away. I wondered what he was thinking. Was he mad? Scared? Did he even believe me? You didn't know? He finally asked, his voice raw. No, I answered honestly. I didn't. Monica never told me. Another pause. Then, a bitter chuckle. Terrific. Just great. So you're saying I've been yelling at you for nothing? I didn't know how to answer that. Part of me wanted to laugh just to break the tension. But this wasn't funny. This was a mess. And I was right in the middle of it. Listen, I said, leaning forward as if he could see me over the phone. I don't know what's going on. But I'm not going to hang up on you. Tell me what you need. You mentioned child support and school costs. I heard him sniff. He might have been crying. Yeah, he mumbled. Mom said you owe us. She said you left us high and dry after the divorce. I froze. Divorce? Monica and I were never married. What had she been telling him? I pinched the bridge of my nose, feeling a headache coming on. Liam, I said carefully, I need you to slow down. Start from the beginning. What exactly did your mom tell you about me? He took a long breath, and I braced myself. Because I knew this call had already turned my night upside down, and I had a feeling. It was only the beginning. I could see it in the way her shoulders tensed, the way her breath caught for a short second. Of course, she echoed, her voice softer now, almost incredulous. So you knew he was married? And you didn't care? Monica cocked her head, examining. Sophia like she was a puzzle. I cared, she remarked, but not enough to stop. James made it apparent he wasn't happy with you. Why should I feel terrible about it? I wanted to sink into the floor. Sophia looked at me, her eyes flaming with a mix of hurt and rage. Is that true? She questioned. Did you tell her I made you unhappy? I opened my mouth to deny it, but the lie wouldn't come. Not exactly, I said, fumbling. I don't know, I vented sometimes. It wasn't about you, but it was a weak defense and she knew it. She shook her head and turned back to Monica. So what was the plan? She questioned. You two just keep this going forever? What about your baby? My head snapped up at that. Kid? What kid? Yet Monica didn't skip a beat. She laughed, a low, dry sound that made my skin crawl. Liam, she remarked like it was a joke. Oh, he's mine, not James's? You think he truly wanted kids? No way. Liam was a serendipity. Just happened one day and I figured, why not? James didn't sign up for that. My mind reeled. Liam. The name didn't mean anything to me then, not like it would later, but hearing it slip so casually from Monica's mouth threw me. Sophia gazed at her, then at me, her face a mask of surprise. You have a son? She asked me, her voice cracking. No, I stammered, turning to Monica. What are you talking about? You never told me you had a kid? Monica rolled her eyes. Didn't think you'd care, she claimed. You were quite clear about not wanting a family. Sophia's hands clenched into fists on the table, and I could see the pieces coming into place. For her? You told me you loved kids, she said, her voice breaking. You sat there and let me talk about having a baby, and all this time you had one, with her. Was that a lie too? I didn't know what to say. I hadn't known about Liam, not until that moment. But the damage was done. Sophia, I didn't, I began. But she cut me off. Don't, she said, her voice loud again. Just don't. She turned back to Monica, who was watching us like this was some kind of spectacle. How old is he? Sophia asked. 14, Monica said, sipping her soda again. Good kid. Takes after me. The math hit me like a stone. 14 years. That meant Monica was pregnant while I was still with her, while I was still married to Sophia. I hadn't realized. I swear I hadn't. But it didn't matter. Sophia was looking at me like I'd stabbed her in the back. And in a way, I had. You didn't even tell me, she whispered. You let me believe we could have had something, and you were building a whole other life. I reached for her hand, desperate to fix this, but she pushed away. I didn't know. I said, imploring now. I swear, Sophia, I didn't know about him. She didn't answer. She just stared at me, her eyes full of grief, and I understood. My silence all those years had spoken louder than my words ever could. Monica leaned back, smirking again, and I realized right then that this meeting hadn't just damaged Sophia. It had shattered whatever remained of us.